Good morning, I'm Ilka Oster.
Morning, I'm Jo Drennan.
When did you stop noticing what's right for you, and do you allow your children now to notice what's right for them?
This is interesting. I was watching a documentary recently with some 13, 14-year-old kids, and there was a point where I thought that they might be scared. There was a bit of a scary part, and I didn't think to ask them. I just went straight into, oh, I'm uncomfortable. I'm really uncomfortable here because of this. Them watching this, sitting with me and watching this scary bit.
Yeah, and what would have normally happened in the past with your children, do you think, Jo?
I would have just
something like that.
I would have just made the decision that it was scary and turned it off and said, you can't watch that.
And then when I was asking you about this morning, you actually did find a memory, didn't you, back when you were a kid?
Was so interesting. At least I'm to the point where I can take responsibility for my feelings to say I'm uncomfortable. But this was interesting when I revisited or went into why am I feeling uncomfortable. I found a memory of when I was 14 and I was watching a movie with my family where I was really scared. And normally I would just sit there and be in fear and say nothing. But this day I made the big step to get up and walk away. And then I was sad and I went to tears. But I didn't get any support for that. I got ridiculed. So I learned to...
It's just a movie, Jo.
Yeah, it's just a movie.
And
what do you mean?
I did that to my kids too.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
But I suppose what's happening here, unlike now as an adult that you're learning to say I'm uncomfortable, but back as a child, you can see that you were stating or expressing how you felt and then being ridiculed. So there doesn't, if you're being made wrong for how you feel, then we learn that other people probably should have control over.
That they know best.
They know best, and why should I tune into my feelings? What's the point of that?
No, just to suck it up and please them, do what they require of me. So what I could have done there in that moment was check in with my feelings and where that comes from, and know that little trigger was something about me, but ask the child.
Yeah, the 13-year-olds, ask them. And why do you think it is that you perhaps don't think to ask them how they are?
Well, I'm working on this, on asking the child how they are, what they're thinking, how they're feeling, is because I never knew to do that. It never happened for me as a child. I never did it with my own children. I just made decisions without asking them their opinion. And it's new. It's new.
I did this a lot with my children around food because I was such a control freak with food, and I had a lot of fears. I think most of these beliefs come from fear-based things, lack-based things. So I was really afraid watching someone in my family grow up being very unhealthy, that I was probably looking to the future thinking, oh, my kids will get some terrible disease if I don't feed them properly. This is what the underlying belief system was. So I'm being very controlling around food. And even to the point where my son, if he had a red lolly in the morning, I would... if his behaviour was a bit erratic in the afternoon, I would link them together and say, well, that was because you had that and you shouldn't have eaten that, and it was just terrible. But the worst part about that is that my kids weren't learning to notice how food was for them. I was totally controlling it, judging it, making it wrong, and linking up all this other stuff that wasn't even about them. It was all about my own fears. So, it's not...
Yeah.
It would have been better for me to learn, Jo, back then, to say, oh, I'm feeling really scared, and working on myself. I mean, now I know how to tap on myself and shift some of these fears, which is something that we show people how to do in our Awakened Parenting course, and it makes a huge difference.
It does, because I did a similar thing with food, restricted food intake and healthy, even, you know, eat your veggies, eat the right things.
Yeah.
Because, and I did project into the future, you know, that they're going to be obese and lazy and then unsuccessful in life. And turns out that, you know, we talk about addictions and stuff. One of the biggest challenges for me when I learned to start dealing with my feelings was to stop suppressing them with food.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
It's all about
it all
us
comes around
inside.
again.
Yes. All these wonderful opportunities that our children give us when they trigger us are opportunities to look inside us. What's going on inside?
They definitely are. And I think probably the best part about that whole story was that you are now able to say to the kids, yes, you didn't ask them, and that's the next step, but you're able to say, I'm uncomfortable. And it sounds like a small thing, but that is really a huge thing. And also, in Awakened Parenting, this is where we're always coming from. If as adults, we can be showing children how we notice our own feelings, then we're showing them how to do the same.
Absolutely.
Which is going to set them up to have, I think, much more in tune with themselves lives, which is a really important thing.
Yeah, and the ability to make decisions for themselves.
For themselves, what's right for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us here at Mooloolaba Beach, and we'll be back again next Wednesday morning. And inspire someone today.